JKB back with another episode. Today on the show, I'm reviewing Detroit Become Human. Thank you so much to Sony for sending over the review copy. Detroit Become Human can be called a masterpiece. However, you have to be one of those gamers that considers this type of game to be a video game and not simply an interactive film with minimal interaction. That's the major debate within the gaming community. Is this a video game? Where do we draw the line? As films and video games get closer to becoming one, I think it's important that we don't focus on if it is or if it isn't. I think what's important here is it entertaining? Let me be clear, this is a game where you do take direct control over a character on screen. However, your movements are limited. Take the classic point-and-click genre and mash it together with filmmaking. You make simple movements with your analog sticks to interact with the environments. You'll sometimes come across a fast-paced section of the game where you'll be prompted to press a button or make a movement within a limited amount of time. And unlike the usual video game you play, if you fail at pressing a button in time, you will actually affect the future of the story. I want to make this very clear. There's going to be no spoilers in this review, which is going to actually make it very tricky to review. In terms of the story, I can say I played as 3 different androids. Each of these androids is faced with a challenging situation within the first 3 hours of the game. It was clear to me that the 3 of them shared the common goal. However, each of them had their own story with different themes. It wasn't simply about the androids wanting to become human. The story is designed to branch out depending on which choices you make in the game. You're able to find clues in the environment by using the R2 trigger. This will give you a view of highlighted interaction marks on the screen in case you can't figure out what to do next. The thing about a game like this is that you can get away with doing the bare minimum of work during a scene. However, that will limit the amount of choices you have in the future of the game. Kind of think of it as a butterfly effect. You may see something cool in the level but decide not to interact with it. Later in the story, you'll pay for missing those clues. The game is broken into sections. Each section, you'll take control of one of the androids, and within this section, you'll be limited to remain within the environment. For example, you'll be within a house. You're able to walk around the house, but you can't freely leave the scene until the story allows it. Since the game is mostly about the story and less about the gameplay, I'm going to relate it to a few different things to kind of form your own opinion on. I'm a huge fan of the film Blade Runner. This game shares a lot with that film. At times, I felt like I was watching scenes right out of the film itself. Obviously, Blade Runner isn't dealing with androids, but there's an idea within the game about what it means to be alive, and also what it means to be human. Those subjects are what makes this game hard to put down. The story will force you to keep playing to uncover more of the story. As I said, this game is about branching paths, and I'm sure you'll want to know, how far do these paths go? How much of the story can change if you decide to play the game only selecting the negative choices? That's definitely tricky to talk about because I think so highly of this game and I wouldn't want to ruin anything for you, but I will say it's very clear that this isn't a one and done type of game. You'll want to go back over each scene and see how you can change the future of the game. I wish I could say more about this aspect of the game, but I think you should experience it for yourself. One of the coolest things happened as I played. My girlfriend, who isn't really into gaming, wanted to take control of the characters and make the choices. That's saying a lot considering she hates controlling any video game. And that's where I say that the story is incredible. On the surface, it can come across as a simple adventure game about androids who want to become human. But deeper, it made me question if this was a future I would want to live in. I'm gonna go right into the pros of the game, starting with the acting, which had to be spot on since you spend so much time with these characters. The performance capture is incredible. The environment and atmosphere is deep with detail. You can spend hours looking at these locations. The level design work here is the best in the industry. The music is done by 3 different composers for each of the main 3 characters, which gives them a different feel, and that's very important. Since the story jumps between the 3 characters, it's always refreshing to get back into the different types of music. So when you're playing as Connor and you're kind of in Batman mode, the music matches that, and it just amplifies everything again. But then when you go back to playing another character in the game, it can be more dramatic, and they really work together. As for the cons, I honestly couldn't come up with any that really bothered me. Maybe I could say the pacing is a little strange at times, because you'd expect this to be kind of like a film, but it's a video game. So one scene can be relaxing and the next scene basically is a horror film. The story is absolutely engrossing. You won't be able to put the controller down. The characters are defined by your actions, and you'll want to force yourself to make serious choices at times, even though you don't agree with them. I can't even begin to imagine how hard it would be to write a game like this. I know the script was between 2,000 and 3,000 pages, and that shows on screen. If you played the demo scene and you loved it, the rest of the game is just as good, but a little slower at times. This isn't an action game, remember? It's all about the story, and the story here left me asking questions, and not questions that wouldn't be answered on screen, but questions about my life. If you liked Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, I'm excited to tell you that this is the best one yet. This game is for a mature audience. It's for people who appreciate a good story. It's not for everyone, but it's incredible for the people it was made for. This game contains some of the best visuals, some of the best audio, some of the best acting I've ever seen on screen. Another amazing PlayStation 4 game to add to your library. If you like what I did in this review, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next episode of JKB.